Queensland first. Kalen Ponga, 50% missed tackle rate. Xavier Coates, 26% missed tackle rate. No, exactly.
You got to pick someone, right? But
if he doesn't produce, I can honestly see Nathan Cleary not returning to Origin after this series. We like a bit of three-way action. We're going to give our
own... make that shit joke, man. You left it right to the death. The cliffhanger. Get everybody watching the whole way through to get to the best part.
Welcome back to Ahead of the Game. It's Tuck Sports Takes and Sports Pez Jez. Time for a Game 1 Origin preview. We're going to hit it fast and hard, Jez. Matchups, units, backs versus backs, forwards versus forwards. We're going to go into trends. We're going to give our tips and predictions. And we're going to match them up against ChatGPT.
You watch ChatGPT kick our ass.
Nah. But and then also at the end of this show, we're going to do another episode or another segment of GPT KO, and we're going to put some Origin greats up against each other.
Yeah, finally get an answer to a very long-awaited question that everybody has. I'm excited about this one. Probably the best one we've ever done. It's got to be. It's going to be wicked. I love ChatGPT KO. It's so good.
Game 1, we did an episode earlier in the week about Origin in general and our thoughts around the team lists and stuff like that. Now we've had a bit of time to process the teams, process the thoughts, process the trends, the stats, everything around that. And it's time to break down our predictions and thoughts about this game that's coming up next week. And I want to start my biggest, the biggest point of difference, I think, in this game is the backline of each team and specifically the defense. And that's why I think New South Wales are going to win this game. And I think it's going to be off the back of their backs. Should I just get straight into the defensive stats that I think have pushed
just
me?
Keep going. You're frothing on it, so just get it out of your system.
So what I wrote about in my article over at bets.com.au, it's the State of Origin Game 1 preview. It's the missed tackle rate of the backlines compared to each other. So if we look at Queensland first, Kalen Ponga, 50% missed tackle rate. Xavier Coates, almost 26% missed tackle rate. Hammer, 21%. Val, 20.5%. The only one that sticks out there, Robert Toya, he's made 203 tackles for the Roosters in 10 games this season, missed only 14 tackles.
Wow. That's good for an outside back. That's solid. And what? He's 21?
Yeah.
Right.
So his rate's down at 6.9%. So, and I think partly of why I think he was brought into the team is his defensive presence. And not to mention how good he's been in attack, but he is solid defensively. But you look over to New South Wales, Zac Lomax, only 16.5%. Latrell Mitchell, 15.5%. Stephen Crichton, 10.5%. He's also made over 100 tackles in the NRL so far this season, missed only 11. Then you have Brian To'o, 31%, and Dylan Edwards, 33%. So just straight off the numbers there, you can see that New South Wales are stronger in defense. They don't miss as many tackles in their back line as what Queensland do. What are your initial thoughts around those kind of stats?
Yeah, it is definitely a mismatch. I think we touched on it last week or earlier this week, where it is you look at guys playing a little bit out of position with I think Hammer is a little bit of a liability there in the middle. He's a great defender, puts his body on the line, great as a defender for his size as a fullback, but always a little bit of a worry when you're playing out of position, especially on the Origin arena, because you do get found out very, very quickly if you're on the ball or not. When you look over to the other side and you've got Latrell Mitchell, played a lot of time in the centres. He's played sort of everywhere, so very, very comfortable. Plus, he's a much bigger, stronger body. So, obviously you can be out of position, but he's very, very familiar. They're played for New South Wales a lot. So, like, just at first glance, where do Queensland attack? Probably, you're probably looking to attack through the air on Brian To'o. Otherwise, when it comes to set plays on the ground, it's going to be tough to break that defensive line because they are solid. You're going to attack Mitchell Moses playing on the other side of the field than he usually does. But that's when you're sort of starting to move in a little bit more. So that's probably the combination where I would attack if I was Queensland. But when you're comparing the two, I think there's definitely some more question marks around Queensland's defense. And even with Tua, he's still a 20-year-old playing his first Origin. I'd be going there as well because no matter how good you are in NRL, it's a completely different ball game when you're running out onto Suncorp Stadium in front of 60-odd, 70-odd thousand fans. So it's going to be tough, and it's definitely a strength for New South Wales.
And to the point of the attack, I felt as well, or I feel as well, that New South Wales have more game breakers in their backline. And it's specifically Stephen Crichton, Latrell Mitchell, and Zac Lomax. And you've been high on Lomax kind of through this little short Origin period we've gone through here. And like he always features in the write-ups we do every week for Parramatta. He features heavily in try scoring,
but there's not much to
points.
choose from in Parramatta.
No, exactly.
You got to pick someone, right? But I've definitely been, absolutely. I think Lomax is going to be one of the greats if he keeps on the trajectory that he's on at the moment. I really feel that he's just got this, I don't know, almost relate it to like a Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, I don't give a fuck type of attitude when it comes to what anyone thinks, whatever's happened in the past. I'm going to play my game. I'm going to play it how I want to play it. Nothing phases me. I'm ice cold. And now he's like going up a level and doing so much work. And I think we saw that come out in Origin last year. And then it followed through at the back end of the season over in St. George. And then it even started this year, and obviously in that comeback game that he had with over 220, he had 27 runs in his game last week, which is just like insane. So if he's not getting touches, he's creating stuff. He's a menace, and he can definitely break open the game. But like, I don't know if I completely agree that New South Wales have more game breakers because, like, I don't know. I look at this backline still. Obviously, Hammer can come out from anywhere. Val Holmes can break a tackle and create a line break. And if he's still got that, that's maybe yet to be seen. But I think definitely when he puts on an Origin jersey, he plays a very, very different game and his weakness is probably, like I would say, in defense, but like attackively, in attack, he can certainly do things. Ponga, Xavier Cooks can, pull out a try from anywhere. Like the aerial battle in this game is going to be crazy, I think.
The coach thing, it's so dependent on somebody delivering it to him. He can't get the ball and just make stuff happen like Latrell does, or like Stephen Crichton. You give him early ball and he breaks 3 tackles and does a line break, flicks around the back or whatever to a fullback streaming through. Val Holmes, exactly on the point. Val Holmes did that 5 years ago. That's not Val Holmes in 2025. Val Holmes needs somebody to put him through a gap. Val Holmes needs somebody.
I see Val Holmes putting somebody through a gap. I think he's still slippery and slimy enough to be able to do something. Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be out there all the time. I think you're going to see him take hit ups, and he is still extremely hard to tackle and has the ability to pop a ball up to someone running on the inside or the outside. So, and then Kalen Ponga is Kalen Ponga, like we've mentioned. He's the only good thing in Newcastle at the moment, and there's definitely game breakers. It's hard to say. The game breakers maybe in different ways, but I think both backlines are good. But I do agree with you. New South Wales, if you had to pick a backline, a back five, I'd pick New South Wales back five.
Okay, so 1-0 to the Blues in the matchups. Just a quick one on your Zac Lomax stats there. So game 3, 142 run meters, last year. Game 2, 111 run meters. Game 1,
Mm.
205 run meters. The
Yeah.
dude just eats them for breakfast.
Yeah.
Let's quickly just touch on the halves. This wasn't in our pre-show chat. We said backs, forwards, bench, and coaching. But the halves are extremely important. Mitch Moses
Hello.
has the momentum coming from the series win.
Lame dad joke. My bad.
Yeah, last year. Oh, it wasn't lame. It was great.
Oh, thanks, because you're a
Don't sell
dad.
yourself short, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the whole weight of New South Wales on his shoulders last year and came up with the goods. Nathan Cleary hasn't played Origin since game 1 of 2023. Will be looking to kind of cement his spot back in the team. If he doesn't produce at this Origin level, I can honestly see Nathan Cleary not returning to Origin after this series, just because New South Wales have functioned quite well without him.
Mm. Yeah, it's a big call. It's one arena where he hasn't really like
Dominated.
been a game changer in himself or done something that's like won a series. So it was exactly what, like, as soon as you brought up Cleary, I was gonna ask that exact question. What has he done on this arena? And I think, I don't know, you look over the other side and you got Cameron Munster and Daley Cherry Evans, and you're like, I don't think Munster's been in that great of form. He might be up there in like try assist or something, but that's because Melbourne have scored just so many points. But when you're watching the games, I haven't seen him be as involved. But you know what both of those guys are all about when it comes to Origin. But Mitch Moses, Nathan Cleary, this could be a spot that New South Wales is weaker leading into the game, maybe not leaving the game, because this is probably the biggest unknown of how this combination's going to work, who's going to be directing traffic, who's going to be doing all the kicking. Like, yeah, I think it's going to be, it could be a spot where both guys just don't know what to do or who's in charge, and the players don't know, is it going left, is it going right? Both of them are very dominant in their respective teams and get the ball and call the plays and call the shots. So I think this is going to be maybe a spot in this first game where Queensland can take advantage. Maybe not in the second and the third game though, but I think in this first one early could definitely be an advantage to Queensland.
All right, we'll give him half a point because it's only 2 players. Let's go to the forward pack and 2, I think, quite distinct sets of players here. In my eyes, Queensland have gone for a more mobile forward pack. Paddy Carrigan, even Tino. You say Tino's big, but he plays lock, he plays front row, he
Yeah.
plays a bit of second row, depending on.
Yeah.
You really only got Mo Fodawaker and Lindsay Collins on the bench, who are out and out props.
Yeah.
New South Wales more larger, kind of stronger forward pack, and more maybe set in their positions and not like, I don't know how this rotation's even going to work for Queensland. But where I see this kind of balancing out, or not balancing out, but where the differences could be made, it's around the fatigue and the run meters. And we are so strong on run meters. We know through all the research we've done for the years we've been writing articles about NRL on bets.com.au, run meters is one of the more significant stats that contributes to scoring points and in the end, which contributes to winning. And you've seen in last year's series how much New South Wales dominated the run meters, and especially through their forward pack. Queensland just could not make enough meters.
Yeah, I don't know. It's 2 very, very extremely different tactics. It's almost like they've switched roles over the latest era where it was Queensland always had the bigger bodies and the tougher pack, and New South Wales went for that more mobile forward pack. So, and now it's completely turned on its head, because like, what is the front row rotation for Queensland, where you've got Collins, on the bench. Otherwise, you're running an all out back row in Trent Luero. And Beau Fermor is probably a smaller sized second rower, you would say. So he's not going to be able to play through the middle at all. You wouldn't suspect. So yeah, like they're definitely going to have to. Queensland are definitely going to have to play a very, very fast paced game. You would presume they want to move the ball quickly. They want the forwards to quick play the balls and trying to attack maybe a slower in pace New South Wales pack. But that's going to have to happen fairly early in the match, because if New South Wales start just pounding bodies and making Queensland make tackles, and then territory and possession starts to come into play, I think then Queensland are going to have a little bit of trouble at the back end of this game if Queensland have been doing work. But on the other side of things, you can say, okay, at the back end of the game, maybe the fitter, lighter Queensland pack can attack the heavier forwards of New South Wales. So I think, as we always say, everything's going to come down to who has possession of the ball and who has the territory early and who makes the other team work the hardest defensively is likely going to be then the team that runs away with this win if there's, not a lot of points scored, which doesn't generally happen in game ones of State of Origin. It's usually a pretty tight affair. So,
I think it's
two very, very interesting tactics.
Exactly to your point. I think if Queensland aren't good at taking care of the ball, which historically or in recent times they haven't been good. Game one last year, 14 errors. They had only 39% of the territory, 48% of possession.
In game one last year.
Yeah.
And they even smashed
and they won.
Yeah. But I remember, like, we were together watching that game, and we were like, it's crazy, like, because they had played with 12 men, New South Wales, for the majority of that game. So it was crazy. But Queensland just obviously could take advantage of that extra guy and scored points. But we were like, yeah, this series is in big trouble for Queensland because of exactly that. We talk about it a lot over one game when you're talking about territory and possession, but over a series as well. If a team can dominate, obviously the back end they're gonna power over.
Game 2, 7 errors to 5, 46% territory for Queensland, 46% possession. So New South Wales again dominating the ball, 500 more run meters in that game. They had they're only 100 run meters less in game 1, considering the score. I think that's, amazing. And then game 3, 500 more run meters. New South Wales made a lot more errors, but they had 67% of the territory. And that, I think, we've got a lot more into territory and possession this year, and how important that is in especially in looking at the two halves, because if you dominate and you can keep the momentum on and the pressure on, then you don't allow your team, the opposition, to even get a foothold to try and make a comeback. And if that opposition team keeps dropping the ball or giving up in poor field position, then these guys, they're good enough to capitalize on that straight away. And that's where I think Queensland have the problem in their forward pack. If they can't hold on to the ball, they're going to get fatigued with all the tackling they're going to have to do up against this monstrous New South Wales forward pack.
Yeah, it was exactly game 3 last year, wasn't it? Because even though it was 0-0 the majority of the game, or within one score, it's just eventually Queensland got tired because they were making so many more tackles and working the ball out of their own end. I think that's what you forget in territory. You're always thinking, okay, attacking territory. But when you're winning territory, it also means that the other team is working out of their own zone, out of their own half all the time. And that takes it out of you too, because you're just doing hit ups.
Yeah.
So it's so key.
Okay, let's move on to the bench. And we touched a little bit on the benches for both teams. It seems like, in my opinion, the utility role is quite different. So Tom Dearden
Mm,
for Queensland, Connor Watson for New South Wales. It feels Dearden is more, or is a cover for the halves and even maybe the inside backs in some aspect, whereas Connor Watson is more the hooker, um, second row lock. In a
yeah,
stretch, can be pushed out into a centre role, but probably not going to play it extremely well. And then to your point, the forwards on the Queensland bench, Lindsay Collins, Beau Fermor, Trent Liero. What are they? How's that rotation working? Is Pat Carrigan going
mm,
to go up to prop for a 20-minute stint? Ruben Cotter, how is that going to work? And then on the New South Wales side, you then have Spencer Leniu, who will probably only play, what do you reckon, 20 minutes, 25
max.
minutes, and just go hell for
But
leather.
yeah, but be complete impact. That's what Lenu is. Like, he's just going to go in and be a shit stirrer, and he's going to put in some big work. He's going to get in the face. He'll probably get into a fight. Could even get put in the sim bin. Like, you just never know. But that's exactly, I think, like, he's a great Origin player. He's a must have in the New South Wales team, because I think he can bring so much. There can be negative press about Lenu, but put him on in the Origin stage, and it's exactly like, bring back the old school Origin players. He would have fit right in there. He's going to come in and just cause problems and make a couple of big impact plays, and then he'll come off.
Yeah.
But yeah, that forward rotation for Queensland is going to be tough. And it is like, Dearden, is he like, I don't know, his inclusion to me is extremely, I don't know, almost not controversial, but it's not, like, I
Doesn't
think
move
it's
the
a given,
needle, or
because yeah, like, it doesn't, because it's okay, you've got your halves, he's a halve, he's coming in as an impact player, he's not known to come in and covering dummy half, which is maybe what you need to do, because you're going to have Harry Grant, who's also only played one game since being out injured, and is now going to have to play 80 minutes at hooker in Origin. Like, that's a massive call. Like, to not have maybe a backup hooker or someone that can easily fall into that role. Like, I think is that what Dearden's going to do? But it's also, you're
must
also
be.
putting a player like out of position again, that they don't usually do. He's there to, if Queensland are in trouble and need some points, you put him on so you have an extra playmaker. That's the only
Mm,
reason why I would have Dearden in as number 14. Like, Connor Watson's so much more flexible. Connor Watson can play in the halves.
mm,
So he can play in the halves, he can play hooker. He's played it all. He's an absolute jack of all trades, and he's definitely
mm.
a great impact player as well, because he can come in and do some big things and make some big tackles. It's like, the bench here for me is a clear cut win to New South Wales, because they've got, Hudson Young, they've got two good proper front rowers, and then you've got a really, really good utility, and then Hudson Young coming in to bring some pace on the edges. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's,
Another win
you
to
never
the
know.
Blues. Now, the last one in this matchups, it's the coaching. And
Mm,
it was funny. You said to me earlier today that it kind of went by you that Laurie Daley was back in the coaching chair
yeah,
for New South Wales.
yeah.
I wrote about this in the preview that Michael Maguire set a totally different standard in the New South Wales camp last year. They cleaned out some players. Stuff was different, and you're seeing the same thing now with his tenure at Brisbane. And it made, say what you want about the guy and everything that's happened, but it made a difference. New South Wales were a
Mm,
different team. You could see it in their
mm,
defense, you see it in their attack, you could see it in the media, you could see it everywhere. And he's known to be quite a strict and a hard kind of player, a stone face, I can't get the words out, but Laurie Daley's not that guy. And
mm.
I'm interested to kind of think and figure out, okay, well, what does Laurie Daley's persona do to this squad that is largely the same when he comes in? He's more jovial, and I don't know. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a massive loss for New South Wales, and I think if Queensland are going to win this first game. I think it can be based around just that different feeling in camp because, like you said, what an impact Maguire had on the Blues and their attitude. And now, like, even you can go, okay, a lot of the squad is the same. They're going to keep that same attitude, but you don't. Like, in the reality of it all, if the big head honcho's not there keeping everybody in line, there's always the smart ass kids at the back, sitting at the back that cause trouble. Like, and it changes the mood because it also affects the other guys in the group that sit on the fence. Oh, do I go this way and be this stone cold and focused and structured, or do I go this way with my mates and joke around a little bit, even though I know I really should? I think it makes a big difference. And Laurie Daley's record, it's not great. Like, he lost 4 or 5 series. Yeah, he broke the dynasty of Queensland, but then lost the 3 series after that and got the sack. So it's a pretty big call for the New South Wales board to bring in Laurie Daley after something like that's happened. He had players, man. Like, it's not like in that dynasty Queensland were just so dominant and had all the best players in the world. And like, New South Wales had a squad and he couldn't get the job done. So, and then you win a series and you can't back it up with another win. Like, there is a big culture change. And, Billy the Kid lost his first series. It's going to be interesting to see how he bounces back. Queensland got dominated defensively and had so many holes in that second game. And they did lose game 3, but you got to give them credit for how well they defended their line and how, it got split open in the second game, like 13 on 13. And then they backed it up with some incredible goal line defence through the long stretches of that game, which is a plus. So Queensland have that attitude, the do or die, hold it together. Is New South Wales going to have that attitude in game 1? I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. So a win there to the Queensland team, but the overall, if I count it up, backs New South Wales, forwards New South Wales, bench New South Wales, coaching and halves.
So 1.5 to 3. It's the good one. Does all the work.
Well, there you go. We got it. New South Wales have the advantage in the head-to-head matchups. Let's chat some trends before we round out our game 1 preview. I don't know. We're just going to, I think, fire them off as we get them to our heads and read them and kind of go back and forth between each other so we can keep the pace going and not get stuck reading. 6 of the last 33 games have been decided, or only 6 of the last 33 games have been decided by 6 points or less. So if you're looking for a tip around covering the line, then you know that normally these margins are a little bit more than 6 points. So you're pretty safe on that aspect.
Yeah, because it's usually it's a couple of points to New South Wales heading into this series.
2.5
into the first game. Yeah. So
game total, game 1s, how does that look?
It usually hits the under though, doesn't it? It's under like 38.5 more often than not. I'll have to.
So since
do you have the
2010,
exact stat?
The game. That's why I threw to you. I thought you had them up.
No.
Game 1 totals have gone under 39.5 points in 12 of 16 games since 2010. So some pretty heavy numbers to the under there. New South Wales, they've won 2 of the last 3 game 1s at Suncorp Stadium. Now, we haven't had a game 1 at Suncorp since 2019. And then, so Queensland won that game, and New South Wales then had won 2017 and 2014. So it's been a while since they had a win at Suncorp in a game 1, but also there hasn't been a game 1 at Suncorp.
Yeah, really, that's a really interesting stat, huh? Like, considering game 1's opening the series, you would think that it'd just be a whitewash to Queensland being Queensland and who they are. But yeah.
New South Wales scored the first try in 6 of the last 8 game 1 matchups. So some pretty strong trends in that direction. Queensland, we know, lead the overall series head-to-head 24-17, with 2 series being drawn. The Maroons also hold an advantage 70-60 in game wins. But here, very good one here, Jez. Queensland have won 4 straight game ones and 6 of the last 7. How important is that?
Extremely important, I think. And I think the pressure's more on Queensland though this year. So I think you go into this game with an extremely different feel. But like, I don't know. I think when you're looking at this stat, I think you relate it back to coaching and you relate it back to, I don't know, to New South Wales coming in with Laurie, Daley, new coach, new system, feeling each other out, new halves. I think it is an extremely important statistic heading into just this game one matchup, because I think there's more unknown about New South Wales, despite them being the reigning champions. When you look at their squad, just because of the whole difference in their halves, Queensland is still just sort of, it's the same guys. They've moved a few around. They know what they're doing. They're in camp. There's more new going on in New South Wales.
Yeah. Queensland have a 39-21 record against New South Wales at Suncorp Stadium. So pretty big difference there. There's one game that's also been drawn. So they're almost winning at a 2-1 rate there.
So if you give the matchups and the lineups to New South Wales, are you giving trends here to Queensland
100%.
heading into this game?
Game one trends, and also trends at Suncorp, considering they lost the most recent game at Suncorp, game 3 last year. It would mean that they're in line to win a game at Suncorp this year.
Let's take that into the next section of this show then, hey?
Do we have any more trends that we want to talk about, or we just want to get into some tips?
Let's go. Let's move into some predictions for the match.
Okay. Now, we said we're going to do a 3-way competition here. We like a bit of 3-way action. We're going to give our own...
to make that shit joke, man.
We're going to give our tips and predictions around the game one winner, first try scorer, man of the match, game one, and then also the series winner, the series player, and the series top try scorer. Okay, so it's you versus me versus ChatGPT.
All right.
And whoever wins gets a can of Coke.
You were a poet and didn't even know
it. Okay, so while you are figuring out and I can tell you here, Jez, it wasn't easy getting GPT to come up with this. It was trying to throw out players like James Fisher-Harris, Cam Murray.
It needs a bit of updating. You've got to feed it recent news and information. Otherwise, I don't know. It likes to live in the past. Old ChatGPT.
Yes. All right. So game one winner. I'm on New South Wales. I'm on New South Wales to win and cover the line. GPT is on New South Wales also to win. Who have you got?
I'm taking Queensland to win game one. Yeah. I just think being at home, Suncorp, I think all the trends point towards Queensland to win the first game of the series.
Okay, first try scorer. I'm also on Zac Lomax. Now I have to say I fed GPT the article that I wrote, and the first 2 tips it's given are exactly the same as what I've said. But I think his ability to find the line and the kicking game in New South Wales, I think New South Wales will start extremely strong, and Zac Lomax is the guy that'll be on the end of that.
I'm going to throw a bolter in there, and I'm going to say Liam Martin to score the first try. Scored the first try in game 2 last year. I think his connection with Cleary is going to be evident. It always feels like those first few attacking plays, you go to something that's a little bit safe before you start throwing it out. I think they're going to set Liam Martin up to be an aggressor in the series. Going to run straight at Cameron Munster. They've got a little bit of a feud going over the last couple of years. And I think he's just gonna, I think he's a big chance to get a shot at the line at least, and great odds.
All right, there you go. Man of the match. GPT is going with Isaiah Yeo. I am going to go Stephen Crichton.
And I'm going to take Tino to get man of the match.
Yes.
Because Tino missed the series last year. I think if Queensland are going to win this game, I think Tino's going to have to play a massive role. He's got to be the aggressor. He's going to go head-to-head with Payne Haas. He's going to have to do a lot of work, do a lot of hit-ups, do a lot of tackling. But he can also break the line. And been playing at lock. He's got some ball skills. If he pops out a try assist or two in this game as well, I think he could definitely be up there as man of the match. And the Queensland forwards have to have a huge game for them to win.
100%. 100%.
So
that's a good shout. If you're on the Queensland train, I think it's a very good pick.
Yeah.
Let's go to the series. I am going to take a 3-0 whitewash to the New South Wales Blues. I think they are just a out-and-out better team, and I think it could possibly force Queensland into some changes towards the end of the series if it ends up being 2-0. They have a 2-0 advantage already at Perth Stadium, which will be game 2. I just think the trends, everything's in New South Wales' favour for a 3-0 whitewash here.
I'm going to take New South Wales 2-1. I'm going to go on, follow ChatGPT here, but I think eventually the halves combination of Mitch Moses and Nathan Cleary is going to be too hard to stop. I think Queensland have a chance to win game 1, but I think that's only going to improve. They're going to work shit out come game 2, come game 3, and dual attack on both sides that are the quality of those, arguably two of the two best players in the league at the moment. I think that's going to be too much.
Okay, then we have player of the series, the Wally Lewis medal. And I think, should we just give one pick from each team, or what do you reckon?
Just go one pick.
All right, my pick's Stephen Crichton. I think he'll win man of the match in game 1, and I think he'll be significant in the Blues winning the series. So Stephen Crichton is my pick for player of the series. GPT has gone Payne Haas, the most dominant forward. If New South Wales win, he'll churn through 150 plus metres a game and very central to the go forward.
I'm going to hit both of these next two all in one, and I'm going to say Zac Lomax is going to be player of the series, and he's going to score the most tries in the series. And potentially, what is the record for most tries in an Origin series? I'm pretty sure Hammer had it at is it 4? Got to be more.
Yeah, I don't know. In the article I wrote for the series preview, I had my 2 picks there. One from each team was Lomax and Hammer, and I think Lomax is also going to be the guy, but Hammer is just so dynamic, and I almost feel like you're correct in saying he might have the record. I don't know. There is. I think I've done an article on bets about highest Origin try scorers and point scorers and all this kind of jazz, but it's so long ago I can't remember it. But GPT has gone Brian To'o for try scorer. Good cross in each game, incredibly consistent, and will be coming up. Is he match up against Val Holmes, or does he match up against Coates? I can never understand this left and right side business.
If you're thinking how they play for their clubs, To'o plays on the right, Coates plays on the left. So they should match up if that's how they.
Lomax is also right, isn't he?
Yep.
Be interesting to see. But in either
Mm,
case, if he's matching up against Coates or Val, he's probably going to bowl either one of them over for a try.
Most tries in a series posted by the Rugby League Project is Ryan Girdler and Lottie Takiri with 5 tries. Both have 5 tries in a series. But I'm going to take Lomax to beat that and get man of the series.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do we have any more tips to go through? I think
No, that's it.
no, that's it. Well, as we did say, we can you can get over to bets.com.au to check out the game one preview, top try scorer or first try scorer, man of the match for game one. Also the series preview, which has a bunch of stuff in there to check out. Heaps of stats, heaps of predictions, heaps of stuff to fill your Origin bucket with.
Absolutely.
All right, quick break, come back, GPT KO, and then we'll wrap it all up.
I forgot we had this. I love it. I almost forgot. We left it right to the death. Had the
Right to the
cliffhanger.
death.
Get everybody watching the whole way through to get to the best part. All the other stuff's just bullshit. This is what it's all about.
This is what it's all about. So for those of you that aren't aware of what GPT KO is, go back in our previous videos. I think there's even a playlist on YouTube about GPT KO, well, those episodes where it exists. We ask ChatGPT in a theoretical fight between a player or a person, two people. How does that fight go? And we had this massive bracket. We've had guys like Peter Volandis, Larry Kesselman, Max Verstappen, Daley Cherry Evans, and Anthony Seibold. We had
Alex Ovechkin. Had it
Alex
all.
Ovechkin and Ron Artest.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's a fantastic segment. We love it. So we
Yeah.
thought, why not bring it back as a one-off special with an Origin feel to it? And Jez, give us a bit of background about Origin fights and what the biff means to Origin.
Yeah, well, we talked about it on our last show about bringing back Make Origin great again, and it's all about the biff. Like a lot of the best Origin memories you have are two guys locking horns, fights from nowhere. Like one of the greatest, Wally Lewis and Mark Geyer. Like when you think Origin, you think rain, you think mud, you think bare fists, you think high tackles, dirty play. Yeah, and then there's a bit of footy played as well, like some pretty good stuff. But I think a lot of Origin, it's probably the biggest rivalry in Australian sport. So of course it brings up feelings, emotion, and Australia, a few Bundys and a bit of aggression.
Now, one of the most, I think, one of the most popular images that is burnt into everybody's retinas is the image of Gordon Tallis and Terry Hill face to face, jumpers in the fists. And if I am correct in saying they never threw a punch.
No, it was
So,
like almost like a soft AFL fight where they
yeah.
had each other by the scruffs and just sort of pushed each other in the face. Like you watch it and you're just like, let's go. But it never happened.
And
It left me wondering. I've got so many questions.
and that's the perfect segue in because we've seen the other guys fight. We know who wins in the other punch ups we've had on the field. You can see them. You can go back and watch them. This one we've never had. We haven't seen these two guys punch on in the Origin arena. So now we're doing it. No holds barred.
If Tallis doesn't
matchup.
win this, it's bullshit and we're never doing this again, just so you know, all right? Before it plays, because
Let the colours sing, the fists fly, and the passion for the state decide.
Tallis can take on
GPT.
100 gorillas, or 100 gorillas can take 100 Tallises can take on a gorilla, or 100 gorillas take on Tallis. I'm telling you now, the bull wins.
Face to face, fist to fist, state versus state, and mate versus mate. Forget the arena. This is Origin. It's blood, sweat, and the purest form of rivalry Australia has ever seen. No rule books, no whistles, just a grudge decades deep, forged in the
Oof.
cauldron of the 90s when every tackle came with intent and every stare could ignite a brawl.
Mm.
In 1999, Gordon Tallis and Terry Hill stood nose to nose, no words, just unfiltered hate and state pride. The moment became folklore. Now we settle what never was. Who would win if that stare down erupted into full blown war? Jez, take it away.
The tale of the tape. Gordon Tallis, the raging bull, 189 centimeters, 108 kilos of raw intimidation. The hardest hitter of his era. Rage in a maroon jersey. Origin legend, captain, and the human embodiment of don't blink first. When he snapped, people felt it. Just ask Brett Hodgson if he's done bouncing. Awesome. Well done. Terry Hill, the lip, 183 centimeters, 92 kilograms, all heart and attitude, the ultimate agitator, elite centre, feared sledger, and never backed down. Bled blue, barked loud, and thrived in chaos. If you got into a scrap and looked behind you, Terry was already swinging.
How's the nicknamed Lip?
Yeah, I don't know. Was it? I wonder.
Is it because he's lippy or because of his lisp?
Yeah, a bit of both.
All right, my money's on Tallis to win. I haven't seen this. We're all watching this live right now. Who are you on?
Yeah, it's got to be
Yeah,
Tallis.
Tallis. Got to be Tallis.
Yeah,
The fight breakdown. You wanna take this?
yeah. Aggression off the charts. Tallis is a freight train with fists. Hill is a hurricane of insults and haymakers. Technique. Hill's quick hands and footwork are underrated, but Tallis doesn't need fancy. He'll grab, slam, and bury. State spirit. Hill is old school blue. Play hard, punch harder. But Tallis, he's a Queenslander. Fire, fury, and a need to dominate. A bit like you in the bedroom, eh, Ryan? Hey.
Starsky and Mallet.
Yo.
The fight. The moment the bell rings, there's no dancing. Hill rushes in, yapping, landing a sharp counters, trying to rattle the bull. But Tallis doesn't flinch. He absorbs it, grabs Hill in a clinch, and launches him across the cage like a human javelin.
Whoa.
It's messy, it's brutal, it's pure origin. Hill gets back up, throws everything he has, but Tallis is still coming. Gordon Tallis wins via KO in round 1.
Whoa.
Is that a drop of
Too
blood
easy.
there next to the crown?
Yeah, I
Looks
think
like
so.
it.
I think so.
The bull charges. The memory of 1999 erupts into fists. Terry stood tall, but Gordon stood over him. Oh, goosebumps.
Mm.
The Maroons take this round.
There you go. It's all been
Gordy,
answered.
hope you're watching this.
Yeah, we have to tag him on all our stuff. Get it on our socials.
Yeah.
Get amongst it. You finally got the win you never had, Gordy.
Exactly. All right.
You should have threw the first punch.
Yeah.
It's the only regret of your whole career.
You shouldn't be sledging your own dude.
Yeah, can because he won.
He loves the sledge. All right.
Yeah.
Find and follow us, bets.com.au, Sports Pez, Jez, Tux Sports Takes, NRL News on Facebook. We're going to start building that page out in the near future. See you around, eh?
Certainly will next week. But am I doing it? Am I going to do it?
I'm
going to do it. Should we do it? You were waiting for it. You were waiting for it. But, what did I say last time? It was a good one. But this time, stay with us and stay ahead of the game.